Hey, Casa Adobe's Pastor John here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the lesson this week. And so you may notice I'm wearing a lovely blue color, a little bit of purple in it. And this is because it is Advent. It is not only Thanksgiving weekend, it is Advent, which is the new year for the church. So Happy New Year, everybody. So, what do we do in Advent? Well, Advent is called like our season of waiting and our season of preparing. And there's somebody called Emmanuel that we are waiting for. And we'll know in a few weeks who Emmanuel is. For those of you who've gone through gone through this cycle before, we know we know what Advent leads up to. But it's a time of waiting and thinking and slowing down, sort of taking a breath, because it's a very, very exciting season. And you may have noticed since Halloween, everybody is talking about Christmas. I see Christmas decorations up, and I see lights, and I see trees, and I see all sorts of things. And Advent calls us to slow down. So we are actually having our season of Thanksgiving where we give thanks. And then after we give thanks, we sort of reflect and wait and just sort of express the feelings that come out of Christmas. And so in Advent, we are starting with a feeling called hope. And so in the stories we're going to hear this week, I have a plant here. And this plant was given me as a gift from some good friends of mine in another faith tradition called Baha'i. And they gave me this, and this plant has what's called a shoot. And that shoot kind of looks like a bean, but that shoot is going to open up and reveal something. And so, in our first story that we're going to hear in Sunday school and in church is from Jeremiah. And Jeremiah was a prophet. And Jeremiah said, "You know what? Things are going to seem hopeless, but a shoot will come from the stump of Jesse." And if you remember back in our stories, Jesse was the name of a father who had a bunch of sons, and out of him came King David. And King David's line had gotten cut off, and everybody was very sad. And they're like, "Oh, well, will we ever have somebody to come in and give us hope, somebody to lead us?" And Jeremiah says, "You know what? You may think that that stump is dead, that Jesse's line is cut off, and that King David and Solomon and all those guys are gone. But you know what? From that seemingly dead stump, a shoot will come up. And shoots are a symbol of life, of life." And so in our gospel reading, and with the new year, we get a new book. The book is going to be coming from Luke. And Luke tells us it's kind of a scary story because Jesus is talking about sort of signs of the end, and it gets kind of scary. And there'd be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and everybody is panicked and scared because the ocean waves are so high and everything is all out of kilter. And you hear about wars and everybody fighting. And then you will see what he says, you will see the Son of Man coming from the clouds. Now, what does this mean? And it doesn't sound very Christmassy or holiday, but actually it is. If you think about it, what came up at creation when God, the first things that God did, God set the sun and the moon and the stars during on the third day. And so as God is doing all this wonderful creation, he also separates the waters. And biblically, waters are chaotic. And so this is a story about sort of like creation being out of whack and people fighting, and everything is wrong. Nothing goes right. It seems hopeless, hopeless. But there is, it's not hopeless. There is hope. And that's when you see who he says the Son of Man coming down from the clouds. Okay. So in the midst of all of this, there's a miracle happening. And he talks about a fig tree. And guess what that fig tree is doing? That fig tree is sending out a shoot. But this time Jesus says, and you know, when this fig tree sends out a shoot, that summer is coming. So all of that cold and terrible weather from winter, you know summer is coming when the fig tree sends out a shoot. So keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open for Jesus everywhere, for Christ in everything. That's what we celebrated last week, Christ in everything. And so we want to see Christ in everyone, in everything. And I'm going to tell you, this story isn't about something that's going to happen way at the end of time. It's happening now. It's happening now. So when we're feeling hopeless, when we watch the news, when we hear stories of all this trouble and chaos, and even if you're in school and it just seems like nothing is going right, there is hope. There is hope. There is Emmanuel, God with us. And this is what we're waiting for. So be hopeful, because that's what this is all about. So Mr. Patrick is teaching in Sunday school, and hopefully I will see some of you there. And I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful day of thanks, and that you are just ready to enter into this season of waiting and hope. So, as always, be well, be safe, of course, be a blessing. Peace.